This second half of the video has been brought to you by Bushtown Crocs, the newest footwear product that excretes foot sweat faster and more refreshing than any other love loafer, and is a registered trademark of Croco Industries.
Moreover, this Swell paddle product of my own design is also a Swell endorsement of the KQPP. Oh, fair from the sight of your foot sweat running down those slippers like tears on a crocodile's cheeks will make your paddle towels want to rip off said slippers for snow worship. And how sweet will it's making my croc cock shed tears just thinking about it now. Well, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna look for the nearest restroom to go and relieve myself. Alright, Sandra, you feisty Sheila, I let you take it from here.
Welcome Hiya comeback YouTubers. Sorry it took a while, but we've been getting a lot of things off as well as on our chests during the first half. Man, for a Euro Valley girl, that sissy sure can hold her own in a mud wrestle. I don't think Ryoga will ever be the same little piggy again, haha. But enough talking about my fellow Gensters' long weekend. Let's get back to the show by bringing up our next abandoned project. Luffy and Ryoko go to Pepperland. Oh great, another retro flick I'm not familiar with. Erg. Well, luckily I won't be the one talking about it. Say hello to our next special guest, ladies and gentlemen.
Habiha. Oh yes, it's so swell to hear my ashy adoring public. But yes, Earthlings, it is no other than your ever favorite object of footsie desire, Ryoko the Space Pedal Pirate, and I am here to give you a hello down on this abandoned project, which was to be the real follow-up to the Ataharu Moriboshi Goes to the Treasure Planet video. After me and Luffy Sama recruit Billy Bones and Black Dog as a couple of the newest pedal pirates in the Ketchum clan. Yes, after those events we would have headed off on our own little raid journey, that of course being to Pepperland, from the 1960s animated film The Yellow Submarine, based on the hit Beatles song by the same name. The video would have started with me and the rest of the Mandible Molly crew commandeering the aforementioned Yellow Submarine from Old Fred the Sailor and those sexy caricatures of the Beatles, but not before giving them some mandatory pedal pleasure in the bargain. Hog. From there we would be messing about in the Yellow Sub using our steppers to tinker with the controls, while also giving and even receiving pedal pleasure from all the ocean-dwelling wildlife. Yes. Oh, and the foot fun doesn't stop there. We also smear and fondle our way through all the crazy creatures in the Sea of Monsters. Luffy would even get a swell toe suck-off scene between him and the vacuum nose monster. We would be filling all the holes in the Sea of Holes with our foot sweat and toe jam. Hey, there's a reason the Sea of Green is green to begin with. Wink. Also we get a new member of the Ketchum clan out of it. Whilst in the Sea of Nothing we encounter that cute little furry footster Jeremy Hillary Boob PhD, the eminent physicist, polyglot, classicist, prize-winning botanist, hard-biting satirist, talented pedantist, yes, hashtag the Alice Miranda challenge for the win. Hog. After sliding our sweet pedalage across the foothills of the headlands and singing about Lucy in the sky with diamonds, while also getting our rocks off from the sight of swell rotoscoping effects, we would finally make it to Pepperland. Once in our sought-after destination we would not only be shivering our timbers with all the Pepperland residents, but also with the long line of people that you would typically see at the beginning of the video in the smack dab of the raid journey, which would consist of old-school Beatles fans who came to relive the swell experiences of their glory days, nostalgic Beatles hipsters like DW Forever 917's sister who are here to wave their status symbol to the naysaying normie populace, old-school hippies and modern-day 420 stoners who are here to get themselves intoxicated with every narcotic known to man, and those die-hard hard Beatles fans who still think that the group is bigger than Jesus despite the fact that they've broken up several decades ago. After having our swell way with said long line we would have went over to the big hand statue and used the black spot to bring it to life so it can give all of us a life-size foot massage. But we would then be greeted by Princess Kella and a handful of her freedom-fighting entourage, the Princess Kella clan, and yes, this was originally going to be where Dubs formally introduces said group. Kella and her bunch tell us that they had just rescued Gloria Nip, who was thought to have disappeared after the Battle of Gettysburg. After freeing her from an Egg Barney Bunch compound somewhere in the Pepperland area, Gloria was already delusional, almost at the brink of being turned completely straight. But then we present her with the black spot, and Bob's your uncle, she becomes a born-again pedal pirate. And we would all celebrate Gloria's re-swellenization by engaging in a mega stomp mass toe orgy with everyone who made an appearance in the video, including the Blue Meanies who have themselves been swellenized by Buggy the Toe Jam Clown for his East Blue brothels.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. Why, rumor has it that Buggy himself was personally training a giant flying glove to use his technique, the pimp fist, turning it into the pimp glove. Well, I guess I'll have to take a trip to Pepperland and see which one is more powerful. But I digress. Now, as you can imagine, 2021 was a busy year for the Dubster. Not only was he well into making his Charlotte Pickles Goes to All Skate video, which ended up being held back until the spring of 2022, but also he was working on his holiday specials in addition with his regular workload. In fact, he started work on the Arcade Nintendo Goes to Miss New Year project before Thanksgiving just so he could get it out of the way before December and enjoy his holiday season. Not to mention getting back to work on his next installments of Spieconia Muyo, which would eventually be expanded into the Text Tsunami Speech Initiative. So having to juggle an animated musical based on an old 1960s song from the British invasion craze on top of all that would have been too much for Dubs to handle, and so something had to go. And he already had the idea to put Miss Tendo on her Euro-style New Year's rave journey well in advance. Wink. But anyways, Ryoko, thanks again for giving us the lowdown on this unrealized rave journey. Now let's move on to the next one. The secret deleted scene of Willy the Sparrow. Okay, now we're back into some familiar territory. So as you can probably tell by the lineup, obscure foreign animation that gets very little exposure holds a special place in this YouTuber's heart. And if the topic of our next abandoned project is any indication, then you're in for a swell treat. So then, Willy the Sparrow, or Vilja Verib in its native Hungary, is a 1988 animated film by Hungarian animator Joseph Games, whose other notable works include Hugo the Hippo, The Princess and the Goblin, and the post-apocalyptic rodent sci-fi Mascafogo, known internationally as Cat City. I should also point out that this, along with a handful of other foreign animated pieces, were packaged together as part of the Feature Films for Families video collection, the movies of which DW Forever 917 used to watch in class on Fridays back in his old elementary school days.
Everybody got that?
But all childhood reminiscing aside, the Dubster always thought this film would be the perfect topic for a Spieconia video, since he found an old copy of it at a Salvation Army out of town, and even thought up a plot of said project as early as 2016. So why was it never made, you ask? Well, it was the middle of 2017 and Dubs was already in the process of moving again after being fast-tracked into an upgraded apartment that allowed pets, and also it wasn't until his birthday, when he got his Windows 10 from his sister's ex as a birthday present, that he was able to start work on his videos again, and by that time he had already came up with new video ideas that Willy the Sparrow just sort of slipped his mind after a while. But I'm sure you're just itching your toes about what Dubs had in mind for this would-be deleted scene. Well, let's say hello to our next special guests and find out then, shall we?
Yes, thanks for the bombs and introduction, Sandra, you sexy Sheila. But to right, folks, it is I. And the bunnies. Coming off fresh from my own secret deleted scene, and of course my Christmas special made by DJ Swell 69 almost a decade ago. Oh yes, it's been a while since I was featured in a Spieconia video.
And hello, my name is Eliza Thornberry, the supposed youngest daughter of Barney Bunch member Nigel Thornberry, and assuming you saw the product placement that was meant for the Molly's Gang Missing episode portion of the first half of this video, you've probably already guessed that I am a foot-fondling animal lover in Team Tycoon, and you'd be bang that furry mammal's pinky toe on right. But I'm sure you'll hear a lot more about yours truly and the rest of my family members somewhere down the line, as I see a secret diary in my future, ha ha ha.
Yes, but enough going Tropo on the fourth wall, and let's get into what would happen in this secret deleted scene. Basically, it is an origin story on how Willy gets indoctrinated in our Swell group Team Tycoon. Basically, after Willy is turned into a sparrow by Sparina the Sparrow Guardian, he is confronted by his cat Sissy, no relation to Sissy Delmas, obviously, who would be toying with Willy before he was rescued by his little sister.
From there, Willy would meet the other sparrows and receive flying lessons from old Seeper the pedophile bird, and in exchange Willy would show him how to read and fap off to child porno. Yeah, ignore that whole knowledge is freedom bullshit they pushed in the English dub. Seeper's actually your typical perverted old fart. And after the lessons are over, Willy would reunite with the rest of the sparrows in the movie and try to teach them the wonders of podophilia.
Well, that is the ones that weren't already podophiliacs to begin with, Then would come the highlight of the video, where I, along with Eliza and a handful of other pedopels, come in and introduce ourselves to Willy and the rest of his feathery fuck buddies. Other such swell toe-tweens in our group would include our favorite Hedashi-themed Kahri and Junmai from Meet the Box, Gogo and Wumbly Fraggle from Fraggle Rock, Jerry the Soul Sweet from the Swedish animated cartoon The Three Friends and Jerry, and Birdie the Early Bird. And of course the indoctrination would commence in the form of a mega stomp slash flap feathery toe tickling love-in, with chuckles and love moans aplenty.
After finally learning his lesson about spreading free love to all living things, Sparina will return Willy back to a human and grants him the position of Sparrow Guardian. A swell rank for such a handsome young lad, ha ha ha.
fair dinkum, and as a way to make it so that Willie can be both a member of Team Tafcoon and still be joined at the talons with his new avian BFFs, we give Willie a little present that me and Eliza picked up on our way from China in anticipation for this raid journey, to ensure that Willie the toe-tyke sparrow can have his foot sweat-soaked birdseed cake and eat it too. By the way folks, if this video were made today, the Dubmeister might have also incorporated some other scenes into the project, like having Sparina the Sparrow Guardian meet up with a certain political couple in the foot fetish community.
So, what's going on? You ever get freaky with that thing or what?
Also, and like in the movie where Seeper is turned into a human, he would instead choose to stay as a sparrow and fly all the way to jolly old England, where he would meet a certain jolly old mouse who would recruit Seeper as part of the unestablished Union's intelligence network. Later he would be stationed at a certain boarding academy in Australia, that also doubles as one of the main Aussie branches of NERF, where he befriends the school's headmistress who allows him access to all of the private child porn servers.
Well anyways, we hope that you enjoyed our little explanation about these would-be Swell events, and hope to see you again real soon in future Speakonia videos. Yes.
Hey, wait a minute, what about that cat character Sissy? Didn't she become a member of the Repulsa Republic or something like that?
Well I guess so. I mean I do remember that being established in one of these 292's member update videos for the East Blue Equinox, but to be honest DW always thought that Sissy's involvement was more incidental.
Indeed, she felt more like a harmless foil than a sinister antagonist, to be perfectly honest, as she was only trying to teach Willie a lesson for teasing her in the film's opening.
But if Sissy did indeed join up with Rita's group, whether or not it was even a temporary alliance, Dubs probably would have included Terrible Tammy from Heathcliff, along with Linda and her 2-inch ladies Tess and Mimi from the Three Friends and Jerry as part of the said team-up. Anyways, I hope that answers your question, Sheila.
It's Sandra, and yes it does. Well, thanks again Dot and Eliza for that swell bit of input. Now let's talk about our next project, eh? Roll it. The Untitled Hubferdo Project. Yes, let's keep this Euro gravy train rolling with another obscure piece from good old Hungarian, and a surreal artsy looking one that I'm sure my friend Birch would just adore. Haha. Anyways YouTubers, Hubferdo, or bubble bath or bathing foam depending on the translation, is a 1979 Hungarian animated musical that the dubman came across on YouTube back in early 2020 during the whole pandemic scare. It was taken down unfortunately before he could finish watching it, but luckily he tracked it down on archive to make up the description for this section of the video. But anyways, basically the story focuses on two people. One is Annika, an aspiring medical student who yearns for something more in her life. Yeah, Hungary's rendition of a Disney princess in training, wink. She then meets Soltmahe, an interior decorator who is engaged to be married to Annie's best friend Kli, and now he's planning to skip out on the wedding and is hoping for Annie to break the bad news to the bride. The two start sharing an intimate back and forth with one another while accompanied by some trippy and funkadelic song sequences. Hey, did I mention it was a musical? That's kind of important, Haya. Of course things get complicated when the bride in question comes to invite Annie to the wedding, and she has to keep the reluctant groom under wraps while accompanied by more funky music. Yes. Well, that's enough plot synopsis. Once he got back to work making videos again, Dubs had a choice between whether to do a video on this or the Treasure Planet, and frankly he thought that a sci-fi risky rendition of a literary classic being bastardized by an iconic anime perv would make sweller material for a Speakonia project, and I couldn't have agreed more on that. By the way, if you think that the Treasure Planet had some trippy arse animation in it, well I have news for you. The animation in Hubferdo makes the Treasure Planet look like a Hayao Miyazaki film. And since we're still talking about the Treasure Planet, that along with the Arcade Nintendo New Year's special was originally meant to be part of a trilogy of Euro-based animation raid journeys that Dubs had ideas for at the time. With that said, let's take a look at the one project that was left hanging on the drawing board. Shinobu Miyake Goes to Rolf Kaka's Once Upon a Time. Now this one I'm actually familiar with since me and my podmates did a report on this back at Cosmos High. Now for those unfamiliar with Euro fables, Rolf Kaka's Once Upon a Time, or known by its original German title Golden-Haired Maria and Her Blue Dog Bello, is a 1973 animated film adaptation of the popular Brothers Grimm fairy tale Mother Holly, which itself was loosely inspired by one of the original Cinderella stories. This film has also been known under many other alternate titles, including Maria and the Magic Well, The Garnet Stone, and Cinderella's Wonderland, just to name a few. We would have gotten Miss Miyake herself to come to the show to give us the details since she is the protagonist in question in this would-be raid journey, but she along with some of her other petal princesses in Arcade Net Alpha are getting ready for their next exciting Ashi adventure, go figure. but I've been briefed swelly on this project already, so I think I can handle it. So let's get on with it already. Now then, like DJ Swell 69's Stu Pickles Goes to William Snyder's Hobbit video, the project would start off with an opening narration which would introduce us to the lovely Maria, her dog Bello, and her drunken fat arse father Mr. Bottle.
Hey, fuck you, bitch, I'm not fat.
Haha, yes you are. Anyways, the narration would continue to explain the arrival of the scheming gypsy fortune teller and her bitchy daughter Mary Lou coming into town, and how the conniving old hag tricks fat boy here into marrying her and milking him for all he's worth.
Like I'd be tricked into marrying this old zombie like a fucking dude. Also, I told you I'm not fat.
Hey, who's telling the story here?
Fuck off and let me be.
Anyways, the video would then start proper with Shins talking about going to the events of the flick and trying to get her fantastic satisfaction with all the swell characters therein, starting by having her swell way with all the random townspeople in the village that the movie takes place. Afterwards she'll then run into the super cunt Mary Lou and notice that she is barefoot. Shins will offer to massage Mary Lou's feet and to even further show her gratitude for the pleasure of doing so. But Mary Lou, being the total shit skank she is, will turn down her offer in the harshest way, and I mean it is a hard rejection, believe you me. And so Shinobu will do her whole shitty establishment routine and go running out the door in a fit of butthurt. There she will run into Maria, who apologizes for her stepsister's rude behavior and offers to have some foot fun with her instead. Shins gets excited and accepts her swell offer, and after a fine pedal pampering and an intense game of footsies, Maria would show Shinobu the special garnet stone that was given to her by the prince in a previous scene. But Mary Lou, being the malicious tart that she is, takes the stone from Maria and plans to use it for her own twisted desires. But when Shins pulls out one of her trademark desks and throws it at Mary Lou, she drops the garnet stone and it would fall into the well. Shinobu will realize her error and take Maria by the hand, and the two would jump feet first down the well to get it, with a greedy Mary Lou not too far behind.
Well, that's just great. Not only did I end up losing my daughter, and I'm much more attractive than my shitty new gypsy wife stepdaughter, and that's not saying much, but also my bottle is empty. Motherfucker!
Say there, Mr. Like a portly pedal cow. Since you're the daughter's Rihanna, it's clear that I'm getting nowhere with the man, Mary Lou at the moment. Maybe I could soothe your woes away by tenderizing those economy-sized meat cushions of yours. What do you say?
Oh, sweet bottle dildos, now you're doing it too. I'm not fat, you stuttering foot-fucker. However, at this point, I think I'll accept your offer. Go ahead and massage them.
Oh yes, where did that does the shoot inside?
Hey Chubbs Mackenzie, what did I say about interrupting me during my explanation? And as for you porky pig shit, go foot flirt on your own time, eh? Now knock it off before I really give your fat arse something to cry about.
Heard that, since you fucking red-haired, which I'm telling you for the last fucking time I'm not fat.
I said shut you fat.
Okay, shut it up.
By the way, old buggy boy taught me how to do that with my voice, in addition to teaching me the pimp fist. Not to mention having some raffle demon in me as well. Ha ha ha. Now where was I? Oh yeah, once in the well our heroines and the bitchy stepsister will end up in the magical realm of Mother Holly, or Mrs. Holly as this film calls her, and on their way they will meet some of the colorful characters that populate the land, while also gathering various foods for Mother Holly's breakfast banquet. And is it me, or does anyone else have that Pepperland vibe again?
By the way, Sandra Kuhn, while we are on the subject, I would like to point out that this unrealized project also features a cameo of our group's head Aussie representative Skippy, where he has his swell way with the kangaroo soldiers that appear in the movie. Oh yes, he really shows them rock steady pouch hoppers how to stand at attention. Hog. Right, those future tank girls / warriors of virtue refugees were hopping funny after Skippy got done with them. Link. Also, I might add that this was going to be a second attempt to introduce the Shmoo as a Speakonia character and reference his group the Lil Abner League in the same scene where he receives satisfaction from Skippy and his erotic entourage of rookies. Oh yes, that would have been fair income in the Slender Souls.
Well, thanks for that interesting bit of input, ladies. Now then, when the girls make it to Mother Holly's cabin, Mother Holly says that she will return the garnet stone to the one who can please her babies and get them ready for their big nap. And so Maria and Shinobu manage to quiet down the chubby-cheeked cherubs by feeding them purge made from Maria and Shin's foot sweat and pedal cheese. Such a foot-tastic concoction causes the infants to dance in a hormone-driven boogie, and both Maria and Shinobu decide to yank their footwear off and engage in a mega stomp toe-tickling play rumble that lasts for 666 hours.
So don't you run away and do something else!
After Maria and Shins wake up from their nap after wearing themselves out with those little mandible moppets, Mother Holly is about to present our heroines with the garnet stone. but she realizes the garnet stone is missing, and just then the wicked harlot Mary Lou would show up out of nowhere, revealing that she now possesses the garnet stone, thanks to the help of her newest muffmates in the Repulsa Republic. Yes, it turns out that Mary Lou was indoctrinated by Rita's League of Vaginal Vixens off-screen during Shin's and Maria's previous pedal playtime with Mother Holly's infants.
Oh, I should have fucked her when I had the chance.
But like I was saying, with the unswell new trick that was taught to her, Mary Lou uses the power of the garnet stone to transform into a Yoma to finish off our heroines. And to add insult to injury, Rita comes down to double their trouble by using her muff magic to fuse those DD dykes into a butthurt mode of the super-sized variety. Talk about your monster headaches, am I right? But Shinobu will retaliate by revealing that she learned a new trick while she was spending time with Skippy in the previous scene with the kangaroo soldiers. Yeah, Dubs thought this would make a swell callback to DJ Swell 69's Skippy missing episode, haha. So anyways, Shins and Mary Lou would engage in an intense fast-paced foot fight, hurling kicks and insults over whose feet are the strongest. But Shins ends up being triumphant and pins down Mary Lou for a victory foot rape and speed foot massage and scrub down. Yeah, she really smears her victory in the bitch's face on this one. Wink.
Damn it, that speed foot rub/rape fucking hurt like fucking fuck. But I can't lie, it felt pretty damn good as well.
Yeah, join the club.
Oh yeah, almost forgot about those DD girls and their butthurt mode. Well, soon after taking care of the wicked steptwat, Shins goes and grabs the nearest thing in Mother Holly's realm to take care of that four-headed monstrosity, and with her superhuman desk-throwing strength she crushes those DD dipshuts back to their wet noodle selves, hohaya. With their boss Rita getting another monster headache, Mary Lou retreats with Rita and her Dark Kingdom tarts, swearing revenge on Maria and Shinobu when they meet again. After the battle, both Maria and Shinobu are returned back to the village and Maria gets married to the handsome prince. The video ends with Shinobu having a mega stomp honeymoon foot three-way with Maria and her newest heel husband, but not before throwing another one of her classic tantrums, which results in it turning into a zesty beasting orgy as well.
Oh baby, that gave me half a ruffled chub just thinking about it. Yes.
Oh sweet bottle Dilgus, this is so unfair. My daughter Maria goes to have a happily ever after with a prince along with that slim-eyed yellow chick. Mary Lou got herself possessed by a bunch of deviant witches before I had the pleasure of fucking her. And worst of all, that damn gypsy woman ran out on me after spending all my hard-earned money. But at least I still have you, my precious bottle of wheat. Who is that tall grinning fellow over there?
Слово «рум» из «смерть» для вас означает одно и то же.
Just what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, trust me, Fatso. It's for your own good.
That's what I was telling you before!
So anyways, that pretty much wraps up the plot of Shinobu Goes to Once Upon a Girl Oops I Mean Time. Of course there's not much of a difference now, is there, haha?
Oh my, all this talk about foot three-ways and love beastings, even rum and death is making me go all trapo. Say Ryoko, you sexy space Sheila, how would you like to join me and my mate Eliza for a sexy mega stomp session backstage after this segment is over?
Hey, count me in on some of that.
Well, that's a very tempting offer, Bunny Dot, and I may just have to take you up on that, especially if your little love pet Funny Bunny will be involved. I would so love to feel another pair of lucky rabbit's feet other than Ryoki's tickling my face with their velvet smooth fur while I breathe in the countryside aroma. But before we go, I'd like to do a topic on something a little different from all these abandoned projects. It's something Dubs always wanted to address and he may never get another chance to do so in any future videos. So with that said, let's cue the next title card I had prepared for such an occasion. The secret missing episode of Tenchi Muyo / Universe Original Draft. Like I said, this isn't exactly an abandoned project, far from it actually. Please let me explain. If you remember the Dubster's original trailer, then you should know that he was planning to launch Speakonia Muyo as early as the spring of 2020, and the first installment was going to be a secret missing episode of the first TV series featuring no other than yours truly as one of its Swell co-stars, hahaha. Well, anyways, you can pretty much thank the COVID pandemic for slowing the progress of the Dubster's intended schedule, as he had to stay home away from the laptop he had most of his workload on at the time, and Lilith knows he didn't want to have to whip out that crappy Windows 10 and deal with its bullshit. Luckily his sister ended up giving him the Windows 7 she had at her house, as she rarely ever used the thing anymore what with her new cell phone, and by the time he got back to work Dubs had already come up with some new ideas to extend the project that he decided to take it into a new direction.
So what was going to be a single secret missing episode ended up being the first 3 installments of Spikonia Muyo, focusing primarily on the series 1 Tenchi, my now on again off again competitive BFF/Bunyan rival Ayaka, and myself. But for the sake of curiosity, let us see how the video would have went originally, if not for the pandemic's interference. The video would have started with Tenchi doing his Newgrounds-inspired opening monologue like in the first installment vid, only instead of meeting Robin's merry men right off it would then cut to yours truly after Tenchi's monologue is over. I would do my whole Shinji-inspired monologue like in my video, only in the original missing episode draft I would have been interrupted by the not-so-foot-friendly princess and we would start arguing with each other over Tenchi like per usual. Dubs even made some old sound bites of our original argument back in 2019 in preparation for the original project, and for your listening pleasure you can now hear how things would have sounded if it had went in that direction. Hit it. Face it, princess, there's no way Tenchi would ever go for a stuck-up prude bitch like you, when he's got a luscious loafer lady like yours truly to stroke his lightsaber over.
Oh, and do you really think he would want to spend all his time having you smear your dirty smelly feet in his face all day? You are so delusional, Ryuko. Quit lying to yourself.
Delusional? Oh, you're one to talk, princess. Besides, I'll have you know that I happen to have the sexiest and smoothest feet in the entire galaxy. Bounty hunters of every variety have been tracking me down on every planet in 12 systems. That's how infamous me and my feet are.
Which proves my point exactly, Ryuko. Unlike you, my feet have never gotten me in any trouble, because I don't draw attention to myself with them.
Oh really? Well then how do you explain the talking bone bag who was ranting about you just last week?
Why, for your information, that perverted skeleton was just buttered over the fact that he couldn't have his way with my feet, and never will. That's because podophilia is for disgusting degenerates like yourself and I won't have any part of it. Erg.
Careful, princess, you're starting to show your own butt hurt right now, hamaha.
Damn it, Ryuko. I hate you.
Oh my, and here I thought your name was Ayaka, but now I know it's...
Ryuko, don't you fucking dare.
I hate you.
Oh
yes, funny stuff. But anyways, our argument would be interrupted when we get some unexpected visitors to the Masaki residence. For me it would be the Ketchum clan who are interested in yours truly. Like in the second installment, Pujokin and Tatsuoshima would be doing the honors of my indoctrination, but Bluster Kong would have originally been part of the said lineup before Dub switched him out for Dougal Maguire to foreshadow his father Ted missing episode which came out the following year. While Ayaka gets an invitation from a small handful of La Del Dun members. Like the third installment, Vid Candy Kong would be part of the lineup, along with Kuno from Ranma 1/2 and Sango from Inuyasha. Only in the original concept the group would be led by Minako Aino in her Sailor V persona. Ayaka would refuse their offer and call them a bunch of sick fucks, but during her argument she will notice that I had already finished my indoctrination as the newest member of the Ketchum clan. I then suggested to Minako and her Ashi entourage that we should team up and give the not-so-friendly princess her toe treatment the old-fashioned way, and so we all gang up on Ayaka and pin her down for her swell indoctrination, and I finally got to relieve the long-drawn-out tension between us by forcibly pampering and worshipping the regal petalage of her royal bossiness, while also rubbing my victory in her face with my most wanted smoking guns. It's just as swell as it sounds. After finally being swellenized, Ayaka would thank me generously for pulling her out of that shoe closet, but then starts to boast and gloat over having the sexiest and smoothest feet in the entire galaxy, which puts us back to where we started banter-wise. Tenchi would then come in the room to introduce his new fuck buddies in Robin's Merry Men, including Donkey Kong and Tana the cross-dressing bandicoot, Bumpus from the Magic Pudding, and Hero Yui from Gundam Wing who is now ready to rob the childhood innocence of TV/Universe Sasami. Rito Revolta will show up at the very end to everyone's shock, looking for the ones ripping off his shit-eating catchphrase. Then there would have been an epilogue scene involving Nagi looking for yours truly, only instead of the space disco it would have been at the Jumping Mario, which would later be featured in a future installment of the series. So then ladies, what did you think?
Oh my yes, that definitely sent shivers down my legs all the way to my toes just thinking about it, alright.
Oh fucking oath, Eliza, now I'm even more horny than I was when I made my swell offer.
Well then what are we waiting for? Let's go find the nearest zoo and have ourselves a super swell interspecies foot freak out. What do you say?
Haha, sounds like a good time to me. I am so looking forward to sinking my toes into the genitalia of some future Bunyan beasties. This is gonna be so wizard. Sayonara for now, Sandra.
Ah yes, I hope that the three of you have a swell time of it, eh? Well, now that we've gotten all the foreign projects out of the way, I say we talk about something a little closer to home. as our next topic focuses on the certain iconic fat feline with a taste for the finer things in life. Hit it. The Untitled Garfield Project. Yes, the Double D man had the idea to do a Garfield-related Spiaconia project since he saw his cameo in Fillet of Soul One's secret missing episode of Samurai Pizza Cats almost a decade ago. Only problem was that Dubs had no idea which topic to use on the project, since there is so much Garfield media to choose from, between the comics TV specials and 2 animated series. And don't even get me started on those 2 live-action abortions that pretty much ruined Bill Murray's career. But let's get to some examples. Dubs was considering maybe sticking true to the Fat Cat's roots by doing a secret missing issue of the original Garfield comic strip. He also had the idea of doing a secret missing episode of the more widely popular TV show Garfield and Friends, but of course by doing that the Dub man would most likely had to have split it up into 2 sections for the other half of the show known as US Acres, or Orson's Farm as it's known in other regions like the Great White North of where your ever gracious host hails from. Hahaya. Well, Dubs actually did have an idea stirring around in his head for that, and if you've guessed it by now, Orson's Farm would be bought out by no other than Danny Dingo to become the next branch of Green Patch, and even making Lanolin Sheep one of the head jumpers of said establishment, as she was the most badass character in the show. Oh yeah, baby, that sexy lamb can bust my chops any day, ha ha ha. He also could have done a secret missing Garfield TV special which would have included a scene with John Armicle coming out as a podophiliac, and would have a drawn-out monologue that mimics that of Artaru Moroboshi in the secret missing episode of Urusei Yatsura, right down to the hidden establishment that he and Liz are cousins. And if you saw that coming, then you've probably guessed that the next John will admit that he and Artaru are mortal enemies and would be extremely jealous over the fact that he has an ever-growing heel harem. But the Dub man already has plans about which Spiaconia group to put John in down the line, so he won't have to worry about being in the doghouse for very long, ha ha ha.
That's what I was telling you before!
Other ideas that Dubs was tossing around was maybe having Nermal, the self-proclaimed cutest kitty cat, also proclaiming himself as the gayest cat in the universe, and even reveals that he was the one responsible for starting the bitter rivalry between Heathcliff and Rudden Ralph in an elaborate plot to have the 2 destroy one another, eliminating the competition without having to get his cute paws dirty. And don't think Dubs forgot all about that sexy long-necked overbite Cuddy Arlene, who was Garfield's sexy love interest. Most likely he would have made the original comic illustration of Arlen one of the many exotic pets in Cardnet Alpha's love menagerie. Something about this incarnation just screams Ashy in betweener, don't you think? Meanwhile, the CG version of Arlen from the Garfield show would be the separate incarnation of the 2 who finds happiness as the Betty Bunch's personal sentient double-dial doe. Why, she could even be a hairy strap-on for all we know. Wink. But anyways, the time has come to talk about our final topic of the evening, and this one happens to be very dear to my heart. Cue the final title fanfare, please.
Sandra goes to a next girls concert.
Yes, you heard right, YouTubers. We've saved you the best for last tonight as our final topic focuses on your ever so gracious host, as I go into detail about an unrealized rape journey where I attempt to indoctrinate the fictional band the Hex Girls from Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost as part of the Darkwing Den's musical division. But to truly go into detail about this project, a little history lesson is in order here. Rewinding back to 2018, the return of Spookonia series was supposed to go on a lot longer throughout October. In fact, there was going to be another countdown list with Danny Dingo talking about the bad horror movies that the Dubster actually liked. But like I mentioned in our first half, this was around the time he was still working with that crappy Windows 10, and having to work through all the delays and unpredictable cop-outs was already frustrating as it was without having to make a new video for an entire month. So as you may have guessed, this dropped project was intended for the Halloween finale before having to cut it short with the Jazz Mitchell Grimwiggle story, while my would-be antics was condensed to a small reference in the Hex Girls music video that came out in early November of that year. But now let's get to the plot of this unrealized project that I'm sure you're all just itching your nether regions to hear. The video would have started with yours truly introducing myself and my intentions to celebrate Halloween by going to a Hex Girls concert and get backstage to indoctrinate said Hex Girls into the Darkwing Den. I would then fill the quota of any ghost video by listing off the usual long line of people consisting of young teenage rockers and nostalgic music buffs, Halloween party clientele and their endless supply of glow sticks and cider and donuts for all the young trick-or-treaters, Scooby-Doo fanatics young and old alike, and every color of the race rainbow that you can shake a pimp fist at. And just as I am about to rage raid my way through the rest of the crowd to get to the Hex girls themselves, I would be ambushed by some members of the Repulsa Republic, namely no other than Miranda Kilgallen from As Told by Ginger, who I haven't seen since I had her as one of my special guests on my bad rap video several years back. But anyways, she, along with those two hoser hussies Nick and Emily from Pixel Pinky as her hench ladies, try to intervene so they can snatch the Hex girls for themselves. At that moment I counteract their threat by bringing out the Pizza Cats rescue team of whom I had on standby the entire time. But of course the conniving little tuna tramp calls up her devious beaver boss to send down her magic wand and change her into the big entitled slut that she is. I would be just about to whip with my pimp fist and lay the smack down on the overgrown hoser cunt before the rescue team reveals that they've actually had a swell new special weapon for me to try out. It would seem that our head inventor Dexter had been working secretly with Little Tokyo's local science buff Gurlu to develop a new special samurai weapon called the Ginsu Tiger Dildo Saber. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of Pizza Cat's hidden establishment here, so brace those expectations, folks. So anyways, I take the Tiger Fang and use it to tap into a new swell power called Kiba Nigger Mode. But wait, there's more. In addition to this swell new weapon and transformation sequence, the Dildo Saber can also summon another Gurlu invention called the Kiba Catatonic. After summoning the Kiba Catatonic, I immediately switch to its combat warrior form and do battle with Miranda in her monster form. The Hex girls will see the whole thing and will take this swell moment to play their rendition of the song against the ninja from the movie Miami Connection. Like I said, this is before the bastardized edition that dubs would end up making, haha. But anyways, the battle between me and Miranda seems pretty one-sided at first, but then she brings her aforementioned Aussie Valley girl lackeys to the battlefield and things start to escalate. But the rescue team is prepared for this and uses their combined weapons to fuse with the Kiba Catatonic, turning it into the Rescue Kiba Catatonic. And after another intense fight scene with this dyke trio, I would then transfer the power of my pimp fist into that cat's wings and then launch them at Miranda and her entourage to deliver the finishing blow. Miranda and her two hench hussies will split the scene, swearing unholy vengeance when we meet again, as if I'm really scared of her empty threats, haha. The Hex girls will then come up to me and say how impressed they were from me and my fellow Gensters' swell display, that they give us free backstage passes to watch their swell performance and even let us rock with them on stage. And as their most popular song Where the Hex Girls plays in the background, we will begin the indoctrination
by engaging in a super swell, getting dangerous demonic heavy metal for fagology. Also, for good measure, we would have added a Brides of Funkenstein version of Prudence from Beetlejuice the animated series to this rockin' fuckfest. And it would go on for 666 hours and would sound something like hey 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 hiya, demonically rage raping the Hex girls, hey 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 hiya, and we're gonna put a spell on you, hey 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 hiya, ha, getting dangerous kid, hey 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 hiya. I wish that sexy Great Dane Scooby-Doo was here, hey 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 hiya, even Scrappy-Doo will do, hey 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 hiya, ha ha ha, see what I did there, hey 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 hey, now into demonic speed rape mode. I will speed rape. Oh yeah, get ready for the black and red hell shower.
Bag. Yes, that would have been swell. Now then, if the plot to this would-be rape journey seems familiar to you, well then it should, because it was later reworked into the Usagi Tsukino Goes to Gem video. That's right, rather than abandoning the project altogether, Dubs took what was intended to be a Halloween special and resurrected the concept with an extreme makeover. Yes, it's basically the same story, but with an 80s style twist. Usagi and her Ashi Assembly were the main protagonists rather than yours truly. Gem and the holograms became the main topic as opposed to the Hex girls. And even those misfits ended up being the perfect placeholders for Miranda and those two Aussies. And considering all the clever resourcefulness, I'd say this turned out to be a swell compromise. Well folks, I hope you all enjoyed this year's edition of the Dropbox and found it swell and informative. I'd like to thank our special guests Olga Pataki, Sissy Delmas, my fellow Darkwinged and colleague Ryoga Hibiki, the Tenchi Universe version of Ryogo Hakubi, Bunny Dot and Eliza Thornberry, and even Fat Boy here for making tonight's video a rousing success. And until next time folks, remember that even if a project never sees the light of day, it will never be forgotten so long as you keep its memory preserved. Ta-ta for now YouTubers.
Alright, fine. I'm set. Is that what you want to hear me say? Oh wait, there's no one here. Damn it, I decided to come out of the food pantry and I just admitted my weight problem for no fucking reason.
Well, I wouldn't exactly say for no reason. It just so happens that I'm into people who are on the chunky side and I would love to floss my slippery sweaty pedalage all across the folds of your flesh. Wink.
Oh sweet mama, bottomless sly. Before I die, I'll give her a try. Yes.
You see, what did I tell you, my dear fellow? Get off the bottle and go full throttle.
Indeed I will, my sexy grinning friend. Now come here, baby, and cure what ails me.
Well, okay, but before we go any further I feel I should level with you. I'm actually a dude and a raging bisexual.
Oh, that's no big deal. I've been letting that master shoeless guy fondle my biscuits all day, so I'm totally cool with it. Speaking of fondling biscuits and ran, I was hoping that I too could do the getting on some of this pop pedal action. How's it about it? Where does the shoe pinch?
Oh my, I sure am getting a lot of attention today. Yo Livesy, call up the rest of the fetish division. I feel a pedal party coming coming on.
Well, Tsubasa, my boy, I hate to sound redundant, but that's what I was telling you before.